Hello and welcome to the late Apex. Tonight we will be discussing developments in several different games, including iRacing, Project Motor Racing, and also Le Mans Ultimate as well as hardware updates and everything else going on in the world of sim racing. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is David Sampson. And David, last week was a little bit of a tough one when it came to finding the headlines, but I think tonight we have a lot to discuss and a lot of fun things to discuss.
Yeah, we've been on a roll with busy sim subjects, but no, last week was a tough one. We had to dig, but no, this week was easy. When we didn't even need to do research, I already knew like there were 10 headliners we needed. So yeah, looking forward to it. Lots of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, and let's jump into it. The title of this video focuses on Le Mans Ultimate, so we will discuss that first. And their September update that they have announced. This is coming out on Tuesday. Well, Tuesday the 23rd. Is that Tuesday or Monday? Maybe Monday, sorry. But yeah, it's coming out very soon, basically. And yeah, there are plenty of updates when it comes to this. The first one, maybe the most obvious one. I don't think it's the most interesting necessarily, but let's talk about it. Kota is being added. Now we sort of knew that this was coming anyway because when WEC visited Kota recently in real life, on their rigs, you could drive the Kota circuit within LMU. So we knew this was coming, but it's another addition and it's another circuit ticked off from the fairly small list of circuits that they need to add to the game.
Yeah, it's one track we knew was definitely going to be coming because it's a WEC track. It's not. Lewis isn't here. It's not a fan favorite. I think we can.
It's universally hated, yeah.
Correct. It can obviously it's iconic within WEC, so yeah,
Apparently the race there a couple of weeks ago was very good.
Yeah, and the scan looks awesome. We'll get to that in the video, but oh, yeah, no, I think it was due. I hope it works for them, but yeah, it's one of those tracks that just the least people have learnt.
Yeah, and the one which demands the most learning as well. So that is Kota, so that will be added soon. However, there are a few other elements which are being added. First up, co-op mode, which is where, and this is one of the features that they really wanted to have in the original release, because when it comes to endurance racing, this feature totally makes sense. And it's a case where you can take part in, say, Le Mans 24. This is like against AI, and you race for a stint, and then you come into the pits and you press save, and that is saved, and your teammate, maybe a day later, can go in and they can do the next stint, and so on and so forth. And it's a really good feature. You know, for solo driving, I mean, I remember when I was doing like the Gran Turismo 5 and doing the 24 hours of Nordschleife and Le Mans, that was a crucial feature that without that, your PlayStation would probably break. So it's nice that this has been updated, and I think there's a lot of enthusiasm from them as well for this.
Yeah, if they're talking about console and that transition and that lifestyle, this is a feature that gets fans enjoying endurance racing. I can understand it. It's unique. It's clever. I think it's quite cool. Obviously, there's a few factors. The AI needs to be good. Yeah, so it needs to be a fun event, because if you're doing a 24-hour event and there's 3 classes, it needs to be not, AI a lot of the time struggles with multi-class. Like you see GTPs just waiting behind GT3s in certain complexes where they should be passing them. So if they get that right, I think it'd be a fun feature. I mean, it's not maybe something I would do necessarily. It depends, like it needs to be now. They can't just, it needs to be fun. So let's see, like if you can leave your teammate notes or something like drive. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the features that they mentioned.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where it was like, what was the example that they gave? I can have a look in the actual video. So we're all getting this information from a video posted on the Le Mans Ultimate YouTube channel, which is a really good video, actually, nicely chatted through by one of the main developers. No mention of Motorsport Games. They only mention Studio 397. But yeah, it's a good video if you want to read more or watch more about what we're discussing. But yeah, notes was one of the things that was featured.
Oh, here you go.
Currently P4, about 30 seconds behind P1.
Yeah, that's cool. I crashed into a GT car. That's fun. Yeah, no.
You
Yeah, let's
choose,
see.
or lack of them, and driving clean laps. We add
Okay,
these up
so
and
one
give you
of
a
the
place on the
features
leaderboard,
of
which in
this
future
is
may be
that you so actually so this is sort of intertwined, but yeah, so intertwined with this, they now have online races as well, where you can take part in like maybe a 3-hour Monza race with in a co-op environment, or maybe as a solo as well, and you get points for an overall online leaderboard based on how well you do in those offline races. So you're not racing against other people, but how well you do against the AI is put into an online leaderboard. And that considers the difficulty, the AI difficulty, obviously, how fast you are, obviously, how many instants you have, and what assists you have applied as well. So yeah, it's like offline racing, but there's an online
Yeah.
competitiveness element of it.
No, I like that. Let's hope they nail it.
One of the other things is that you can now save races at pit stops. So if you're in a long race and you have to go away, you can come into the pits and it's saved. You also get 3 auto saves as well, which I think is quite appreciative. Which I guess means that if you mess up your stints, if you crash,
Well,
you can just go.
I'm hoping they don't tell you when the autos happen.
No, I think it's every pit stop that you have an auto save.
Ah,
You can only save when
for
in the
me,
pits.
this is again just me. I don't like it when games are like. That's just the way I like hardcoreness of a game. I like that element of if I make a mistake, it's over. That's
Yeah.
always what I like.
Well, you gotta have the discipline then, I guess, when you
Sure.
play it, where you're like, I'm not gonna restart it.
Yeah, if we say that in F1, like the second you play the F1 game, you're like, I'm not ever using what's it called, the rewind thing they have,
Yeah.
and then but
Well, in
then
Formula One, I would say the example that I
Flashback.
used to have was the walls. You can just run the walls
Yeah.
on F1 unless you really hit the wall hard. You're fine, and so it's very tricky not to just hit the wall every lap at Monaco when you are welcome to. Another element that they've added is a bit of something that I remember from GTR 2, GTR 2 from like 2005, is when the game pauses for pit stop adjustments. So you come into the pits and the game pauses and you can adjust elements rather than it all being in real time. Obviously, this is an offline feature, but yeah, that's a nice thing. Apparently, the bop has been improved.
Good.
So that the cars are more closely matched.
Never easy.
And this is the last point is something that you were very passionate about.
Yeah, I even spoke to the devs about this when I met them in person. Per car camera position. So when you get in a car, you adjust the seat height, seat distance, and a few other little twinks. I have them mapped to my keyboard, and then you're happy, and you do a race in the MP2, and then you jump in a race in the GTE, and you're like, oh, change my seat height, close, and you adjust it, and everything's fine. Then you get back in the MP2, and you think, oh Lord, I've realised what they're doing. So you either do this every time, or you try and find some weird middle ground that works. So now, when you change it in a car, it's just going to remember it for that car, and then when you go to a different car, and you set whatever you want, it's just going to start remembering all your car preferences.
Deville in chat making a good point. Hopefully it's not per livery, because when you select a car in the game, you select the specific car, don't you?
I will find them if it is. It won't be.
Okay, we'll see.
It better not be. No, it won't be. It definitely won't
Well,
be.
I mean, I guess as long as you just make sure that you run the same livery every time, right?
Yeah,
with
I
the same
never.
team.
Again, that's just for me. I don't look at my own car, so I do not care. I pick the first one that comes up.
Yeah,
I don't look at my own car. Online championships. So this was their subscription to. Well,
this to be clear, this isn't being released next week.
No.
This is something in the future.
They talked about how you want to word this, like not special events, but championship events.
Yeah,
are going to be part of the monthly.
Yeah, so they're going to have these championship events where you might have, it's not necessarily going to be one race per week, but it might be like a race every day for a week. And these are online races, probably with splits, and you can take part in them and then you earn points depending on how strong your opponents are. So basically championship points like you have in iRacing. But yeah, like you said, in order to access them, there's going to be an extra fee. Now, the way that they're like uh, proposing this, marketing this, is in order to afford the servers and the online features and this. What they're sort of saying is extra stuff. You pay a fee, and that will help Studio 397. They make the emphasis not supporting motorsport games. You're supporting Studio 397 on their work and the game as well.
I like this, but it's too late. I like this Studio 39, but it's too late. I like it, but it's too late.
Well, better late than never.
Yeah, well,
guess.
let's hope.
But these races will be hosted through SimGrid or on racecontrol.gg, which I'm a bit disappointed about in a way, if it's not integrated with the UI. Like, it really needs to be integrated with the
I'm
UI.
hoping they're saying that as partners, but that it will be. I'm hoping it's part of the UI, but they're the people supporting the servers and everything.
I
There's a bit
hope
of a
so.
brand thing.
But the way that they said
Yeah.
with because if it was with SimGrid, okay, that's good. But racecontrol.gg is their platform. You know, that is basically a Le Mans Ultimate thing.
Mm.
So a bit worrying with that one.
Yeah.
Something.
I'm not paying monthly to use SimGrid. You mean that's the thing, isn't it? That's your point. I'm not
So if
paying
it was,
you
say, £5, let's say, to access these online races, would you pay it?
I don't see you've tried to explain it to me twice now. They have hourly officials, man. I'm
But
for the grind.
These are sprint races. They aren't.
No, there's the 1 hour, and yeah, okay, there's the
Sure,
weekend
sure.
3 hour or whatever, or 2 hours. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
not very
that's a good
busy.
point. Yeah.
But I don't see what the lure is.
Well, that's something that I should mention in terms of like this. They're saying that this might be a way of how you get into virtual Le Mans. So it is like a qualifying process for the championship or for the one-off event, and maybe you get prizes as well. I mean, that's prizes is something to say now. Whether they'll actually go through with it. So
I get a prize not signed up, right? That £5 a month. Every month.
yeah, you know what? If someone was like, "Yeah, you could win £5 if you do well in this race," I'd be like, "I'm all over that."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sign me up. So that's a very good point.
No, let's see what it, and we don't know what's going to break away. Like we say, oh, we have all these features, but some maybe the weekend staff and the hour plus ones all go into the championship.
And I mean, I think your point as well about the weekend races that they already host, like, they're going to have to make it so that the base game isn't good enough, so that you
Correct.
actually have a motivation.
This is the weird thing, yeah.
To get the extra stuff. So it's a bit concerning. Of course, we're iRacers and we're complaining about this, despite the fact that we fork out. We paid probably 40 quid the other week in order to get some content that we don't need.
Correct.
So like, it is maybe a bit.
Yeah. You're
hypocritical for us to say this,
100% right.
but then I think at the same time we're trying to get in the heads of people who aren't iRacers, and whether they would pay 5-10 quid a month in order to do these extra online races. Something else that they're working on is a broadcast livery. So
Overlay, sorry.
or overlay. Sorry, I don't know what I'm
Okay.
talking about. So and this is intertwined really with the fact that they got private servers as well that they're going to be having, so that people can host their own servers, and this means that broadcasts and leagues might be possible, and they are going to provide a broadcast overlay, which is quite a nice feature considering that even like iRacing doesn't really have that. You rely on third-party software.
ARL LMU league race when?
I mean, maybe.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was disappointed we were never contacted by Rensport. Rensport apparently were going around lots of these league people and saying, host a league.
Yep.
And obviously we would have probably declined anyway, but yeah, never got
If
a
the
call about
money's
that.
right, we would have broadcasted it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Driver swaps. Obviously, if we're going to be moving into the endurance thing for actual online races, we need driver swaps.
The way that the guy worded it in the video made it seem like it sounds like it's just driver swaps, but it sounds like it's a really big thing in terms of like how much effort it's going to take. Which I guess when you think about it, it does take effort, right? It's you got someone connected in one place,
Yep,
and someone connected, and the car ownership changes in a moment.
I've seen it.
basically.
I've seen it go wrong in iRacing. 12-hour race at Sebring. Sebring 12-hour. The dude was streaming as well. He got into the car driving. He noticed his lap time didn't count, and he noticed he was dropping down the order. He's driving, and then his teammate is almost like, "Why is the car in the pits?" And he's like, "No, I'm in it." He's like, "No, you're not. The car's there." Netcode. We always class netcode as
Sure.
he didn't hit you, but he did hit you. But that's not what netcode means. Netcode, if it happens when you are about to cross the finish line, you don't cross the finish line. If it's about to when you get in the car, you don't get in the car.
Sure.
He didn't get in the car. He thought he did, but the service was like, "Nope, didn't happen." So yeah, we take for granted how well iRacing handles all of this network stuff. But yeah, let's see. More endurance stuff for them is what's needed. Obviously, they don't really have the player base yet to be like, "Oh, let's do a 12-hour." They need big numbers for that, but let's see. I've seen you put back tempted by PS5 Pro, but no development started. Yeah, I mean, porting what they have to consoles just off my background in programming and game development. I mean, they took our factor too, you know.
Yeah.
They've skimmed it down, but yeah, it's not going to be easy. There's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Just to pass. So, for example, just to pass the process, like when we class a bug is like something doesn't work to our spec, or like, you know, what something advertised isn't working. But PlayStation and Xbox have their own methodologies on what they class as a bug, and the FPS and the whether it's power draw, everything to pass is not easy, and it's going to be a lot of work for them
Sure.
to have that smooth 60 FPS. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult.
Price will also be going up in October, so it'll be €35 in October. I think it's currently about 30.
What was
so-
nice, they also mentioned like, so buy now.
Yeah,
'cause then you don't have to pay more.
Buy in the next 10 days.
Yeah,
Because the update comes in a few days anyway, so you got about a week after the update comes.
I liked that wording. Like I liked that. Like
Yeah.
prices going up. But this is what you should reward the customers that are there at the beginning. This is one thing I've always liked that if brands do, you know, you were there at the beginning, you helped us through. You know, don't try and make money off of us.
But I'm not entirely sure. Maybe you know, but like that €35, does that include the pack that they released?
I don't know.
Because I
the
assume it does.
all-encompassing DLC thing. I
At
assume
least-
so.
At
Yeah.
least the way that he
Yeah.
was talking about it was like, oh well, we've added new features to the game, so we're going to increase the price. So that's still cheaper than what we paid plus the DLC, right?
True. Yeah.
So.
Wait, you paid for the DLC? You didn't get sent it by LMU? That's weird.
I haven't paid for the DLC yet.
Oh, I got sent it, so I didn't pay for it.
So that's Le Mans Ultimate. That will be the September update. Bit of a shame that there's not more cars, right? No GT3s apparently until the end of
There
the
was
year.
there was a GTP. Wait, something's missing.
Was there a GTP?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think there was.
The unnamed. Hold on.
That came in the last update though.
Was it?
I think so.
Hold on. Give me.
You had the Lambo one, and you had that weird independent Italian team.
Hold on. Content updates. Is it just liveries?
Oh yeah, that's another thing that they've changed the menus so that you can select I want 2023 cars or 2024 cars, because the Peugeot, which got changed in the last update, of course the 2023 Peugeot didn't have a rear wing, the 2024 Peugeot does have a rear wing, and so that got changed. So that's just making the UI a little bit easier, and also just the way that you select cars as well on the UI has been made easier by selecting a manufacturer, for example.
The Alpine A424.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And the Tipo 6 Competizione.
Oh, so that is the independent. I thought that came in the last build, but no, it's coming in this one.
Yeah, I'm confused with them as well. Yeah, so yeah, I'm excited to try it. Obviously, I like driving LMU. It is fun. I'm rooting for it. I want to see it grow. I want to see another competitor in the space. I love their LMHs to drive. They're fantastic. They're one of my favorite things in the sim. The GTEs are okay. I think I slightly prefer them to iRacing GT3s, but that's not really saying a lot. The LMP2, I like it, but I just can't work out why I'm slower.
Sure.
I'm not slow. I'm just shouldn't be. I should be a little. I rock in. I'm like, I'm gonna surely slap half of these. I'm an iRacer, and I drive prototypes. So, and then I'm 11th and dropping back,
Sure.
and it's Spa. Like I'm at a loss, but anyway, I enjoy driving it. So maybe us iRacers just aren't the elite.
No. No, that can't be the case.
Oh, okay, so it must just be my driving. All right.
Yeah, I think it's just that bit.
Okay.
So that's Le Mans Ultimate. More game updates. Project Motor Racing. They released a video on their YouTube channel. And
Episode 1. I think we can play this.
Episode 1. They already have 4,000 subscribers, which I'm surprised that they got that many. But they had a secret meet, which everyone knew about, at Silverstone a few weeks ago.
Was this the one where Adrian Newey was there and the Stig was there testing?
Ben Collins, is it?
Yeah. So the Stigs tested the cars and the sim to get a balance. They always show off the Lister Storm, don't they? In every video and photo.
This is an impressive video in terms of it demonstrates that you can make anything seem dramatic if you add Hans Zimmer style music and a grey colour scale to a video.
Yeah.
But
maybe it's not the most intriguing video. I enjoyed this video, but perhaps it isn't a seller.
It's an interview with some people from the Giants engine, because they're using Giants engine, which is used on Farming Simulator, and they discuss mainly about how they're integrating it into the game and about how positive it is. One of the things I noticed that they mentioned was their 720 hertz physics engine, which is very,
my
very
brain
high.
can't think that. That's insane.
Yeah. What's like iRacing's like below 100, right?
60.
60.
Although we do have 360 now. Well, SimCube and SimMagic do, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's 5 packets of 60. You get a delay. It gets the 60 and sends it to you. So it's the latency's higher. Like iRacing. So yeah, I'm excited for this. I mean, do I see it succeed? Like he's talking such a big talk. He's the guy. This is Ian Bell. Project Cars, GTR, Beam, the original. I mean, the list is insane. But I mean, he even said the words, like, I loved when he said it. It was like, when we come to online competitive racing, we hold ourselves to the same bar that iRacing does. So I was like, wow, like, okay, you've just said that. But he said a lot. He's like, what cars? He's like, yeah, all of them. And like tracks, he was like, there is not going to be a track that anyone's missing. I'm like, dude, like.
I mean, it's a bit like what Esports started out.
Yeah.
As, right?
Yeah, so he's always like, yeah, physics. Yes, 700. Like, what's the highest anyone's offered? Double that.
Yeah.
Every car, all the tracks. So, but he only shows the lister. Like, I don't know. Well, I don't know. So
I think the release date is still meant to be in 2025. It seems awfully optimistic.
but it was already delayed, right? When they changed engines, they made a big hoo-ha about what they're doing, but the underlying message was, whoops.
Yeah, they tried with Unreal, but they weren't happy with it.
Well, they used VR as the. I think they just needed also to buy time. They were well behind schedule. So next big story. Let's talk about. We've talked about this a lot. Actually, this is catching motorsport games.
This is it.
Fanatec.
Yeah, hopefully we don't discuss this now for another 3 months.
So yeah, I mean, obviously everyone should know up to speed now about their turmoil, the liquidation, all the problems, the finances, the customs support, the money owed, the debt, and the Corsair thing, and then the previous owners fighting against that. Well, it all went quiet, as it should have. Now they're getting to the root of how you do proper business. Shush. Corsair are the owners. There's no ifs, there's no buts, there's no blogs, there's no rumors. We are now the owners.
Yep.
Deal with it. This is not discussed on Reddit, which is how it should have been done in the first place. Like this has just been dragged through for so long. So every product is getting Corsair RGB. No, I'm joking.
People just getting random knocks on the door saying, "We're here." What? Who are you?
So Endor and all of their assets have been acquired by Corsair. So Corsair now own all of Fanatec and the Stream Deck, Elgato company. So I'm thinking Stream Deck integration with your will.
Yeah.
It's gonna be it's brilliant, mate. If I have a Stream Deck on my wheel,
Yeah.
I'm buying that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But yeah, that's all we know. They've taken on the debt, everything, the customers. They've openly admitted that the customer support and all the way orders are being handled is in shambles. But they're confident to get back wielding world-class products.
Yeah, their full statement was Corsair's expertise and resources will enhance Fanatec product lineup and make significant improvements to the logistics and customer service. Global availability of Fanatec products will also expand through Corsair's extensive channels. Fanatec will operate in a similar way to Scuff, I don't know what, and well, that must be another company, and Elgato. Within the Corsair family, it will continue to develop and launch products in its world-class product range from the current headquarters in Landshut, Germany. One of the things that they mentioned as well is that all existing orders will be honoured and warranties will still be useful. So that's something that was in doubt before they explicitly stated that, because Endor was liquidated. So good news, and hopefully that's the end of that for a while, and hopefully Fanatec can make competitive products again.
Yeah, they've got a lot of trust to rebuild, and obviously Moser. Like, this is what Corsair might be underestimating, how the landscapes changed. And I hope Corsair's not just looking at Fanatec's like pandemic numbers and thinking, oh yeah, we could get back to that. Let's see. They've got a mission ahead, but they're a massive company. It's not underestimate how big Corsair is. If they can show off new rigs, new sim racing equipment, and all the PCs and all of their hardware accessories, they can build the end-to-end. And I say, I'd like to see them lean on streaming with the Stream Deck and Elgato. But anyway, that's just literally me hoping that they do that without RGB. I'm not really an RGB sort of guy, especially if it flashes.
Sure. Well, that is that's Corsair and Fanatec. iRacing.
Yeah, there's not really a lot to talk about.
I didn't think there was much to talk about because they released their development blog, which is a video of the massive development update that they released back in I think August. However, they may have slipped up slightly because in the video there is an Aston Martin logo on when they're chatting about their overlay.
I didn't read you wrote this. I had a massive discussion about this in my Discord as well because I spotted it as well.
Oh, sure.
You've put GT3. I thought it was a GTP.
So what does... Oh, maybe you're right because that says AMG in blue. And this is...
Yeah, I thought it was a GTP.
No. It must be... No, because Mercedes, AMG Mercedes, blue... So the Aston must be a Mercedes. It must be a GT3.
Oh, good.
Whereas the Acura is yellow.
It could be GT4s. This was one argument.
It could be GT4. That is a point. But why would they have GT4? Right? Like, why would you have GTP and GT4 on the same circuit as one another?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's long overdue, right? We're definitely due the Aston GTP. Please, iRacing, and obviously the.
Well, now that the McLaren's here, I've all of a sudden got hope.
Yeah.
Before I would be like, nah. But now I'm like, well, if they can get the McLaren in after 10 years of trying to get a McLaren GT3, maybe they can get an Aston Martin GT3.
Yeah. We finally have the McLaren YouTube video. It's up to you if you want to show it.
We can show you 2 seconds. I haven't even watched it.
Neither have I. I've driven it, so I don't want to see this. But, it's a good-looking car. It was thanks to their partners of FAF getting all this data done, much like they did with the Porsche. I think it's a fantastic car. It's definitely a car I enjoy driving out of the GT3s. It's sort of got that pace of the Ferrari, but a little bit more control, and like the Audi. I do think it's a really good car to drive. The Vet also shares those qualities, but the Vet, I don't know, just a bit more traction limited. I think the McLaren's a big hit as well. I don't know sales numbers, but obviously I do a lot of racing. I see a lot of splits, and I know about week 13s and participant. It sold well. I'm going to say way outsold the Vet, like 50,000-fold. Whether it hit the Ford, I'm not sure. I think as far as scale, it sold faster than the Ford, but probably not as much as the Ford, is my guess.
It's tricky for us as well to judge because we're British, and so lots of British people love McLaren. If you walk around, there's not a company you'll see, not a racing team more common to have someone wear their merchandise than McLaren F1 by a country mile.
Yep.
Like you will see more McLaren F1 than Aston Martin, Red Bull, Mercedes combined.
Well, on that,
in the UK, but iRacing's got such a wide populace in terms of Americans as well. Maybe they're less enthusiastic and more enthusiastic about the Mustang.
I have a cool story, if I may share then. A very cool story.
Okay.
While wearing the McLaren F1 shirt, what, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago? None other than Max Verstappen himself
Of course, yeah.
insulted my shirt.
Yeah.
He was in my race at Spa, week 13. Well, we're all testing out new cars. Me and Max just happened to be in the vet. And I think Lullum he was driving with. Max Verstappen comes into my chat, not to say hi, not to say, you know, he just came straight out of it, insulted my shirt.
Sure.
Do you know what I did? Changed to the Red Bull shirt.
Yep.
I just happened
like you should.
like I should.
Yep.
Some people are on the fence, like whether I should have stood up to him and worn the McLaren shirt. I beat him into T1.
Yep.
And then he followed me up a Rouge in the wet. One of us died, embarrassingly, into the wall, and the other one was me.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. That was peak, so it's all
Sure.
downhill from
Yeah.
now. But no, funny day. So you mentioned the splitting system. I might as well carry this one because I was in the damn race. So the Indy 6-hour special event. Okay, so me and my team, we prepped. So we were a little bit, I don't know the right word. Hello to Fanatec in chat. Disappointed, frustrated, I don't know the right word. Frustrated. We're in split 2 with 4 9K drivers, way out of our level. Split 2 in a special event. Especially, yeah, I mean, split 2 in a special event we've definitely been in before. But remember, this is a multi-class event where there's 3 classes. There's what? 16 cars in each class? Like, especially the classes we were in GTP. Yeah, it's where iRacing has us down as like a top 20 team on iRate. They had left on the car categorization split system. So we were bumped up splits because of our car choice. So in splits below us, there were stronger teams than us dominating. And while we're floating around with sharks. So yeah, it was a bit of drama. The forums lit up, but they apologized. They held their hands up and was like, whoops.
Do you think it was an accident?
No.
No.
Oh, sorry. No, I don't think. I think it was deliberate to grab data. Sorry. Yeah.
And everyone hates it, and that's all good. And now we can move on, and we can all agree. Well, that was an awful idea. Do you remember? Do you remember the times when iRacing tried to make it so that you had 2 of each car in top split? Ha ha ha! That was such a silly system. I remember when we had it for Indy 6 hours, and that will be it. And hopefully we'll know how to.
We were up against the Apex team in the same class. The Apex team with 9K. Like
I was chatting to Jack Stars, who's the head of Orbits, and I think he was saying how he was in a Corvette GT3. I think they were in first or second split, despite being average like 5K or something.
It's madness. Yeah, it was madness. So yeah, it was a shame. One video you should check out is the iRacing development blog. They do put a lot of work into these videos. They're very high quality.
They're always so delayed.
Yes.
They're always 2 months after the fact.
Yeah, so they cover all the updates, talk about their hiring.
On many future
but these are good videos. If you're
expect
interested in
in season
iRacing and the
4.
direction it's going, these are
begin
great
with
to learn.
tracks. Cadwell Park. Cadwell is a great racing
Yeah,
circuit.
so
close
it's
to
worth a
home
watch.
for
It's a
many
bit long for us to play
iRacers.
now. It's like 10 minutes long. But do check it out. It's on the iRacing YouTube channel. But Sam is correct. They're 2 weeks out of date with them always. They should just have the video ready on release. But I suppose it is tough for them, right? Because things like the McLaren get delayed and, you know.
Yeah, but you can still film that part, right? And then edit it out afterwards. I don't know. But yeah, it always seems a bit irrelevant by the time it comes out. Logitech and Momo have announced a deal. Now, I think these 2 brands, Logitech and Momo who make wheels, but also I feel like other real-life racing equipment.
Yeah, they
feel
do,
like
yeah.
Seats,
Seats,
and
I think
stuff,
so, yeah.
but they have got now an exclusivity agreement, so Momo will only produce products for Logitech when it comes to sim racing, and one or two actually of the things that they have announced are a couple of wheels. Now, one of these is a GT wheel, and one of these is a single-seater wheel. And oh dearie me, why can't I move across? Sure, I can't move across. There you go. Well, you can't see it very clearly, but these are a couple of the wheels that they have available. Not, I think they look pretty good considering that they are being touted.
if
and
they're
this
sub
was
200.
this was from Logitech, around $200,
Oh wow.
which I think is a pretty good offer. for
If it's a
wheels like that.
Momo branded, yeah, I mean that's a good price.
Yep.
I think that's what I've been talking about recently. That is what the wheel industry needs right now. Because if you want a top end, badass looking, better than real life wheel, you've got, oh man, you've got options. You've got so many options. If you want to spend £2,000 plus, all the bells and whistles, and I say these are better than your F1 wheels and your IRL McLaren wheels, IRL Mercedes wheels. Like these are top notch. You've got choices. On the low end, you know, we've got 3D printed / metal bits trying to get away with making them cheap. Whereas hopefully there's something like this. It's a little bit late from Logitech, but like you said earlier, better late than never. So yeah, if there's a Formula wheel going for $199 that actually works on a direct drive, you know, all the way up, you know, not 3D printed materials that snap in your hand, because they don't want you to put your direct drive motor up. So yeah, that would be fantastic news and could sell like a hotcake.
You can just Google Logitech and Momo, and you can get on the mailing list because currently those are not available. They should be available come January 2025, which is strange, seeing that they seemingly have already got the wheels, but clearly haven't produced many of them. And like I said, $200 expected price, and that is from Logitech estimating that. So hopefully that comes out fairly soon. British F4 Esports. I keep on coming back to this because they keep on sort of drip feeding information. It's quite interesting. I think a couple of weeks ago they announced what the prizes were, and the prizes for this season obviously aren't money, but they are real life sort of opportunities to get involved in motorsport. Club 100 karting, which is like a karting championship, Vega karting championship, involving rental karts. You get entries to that should you do well. However, they've also announced the teams now, and Ferrari, Williams, Alpine, and Aston Martin are all on the grid for this upcoming season with their esports teams. I barely knew Ferrari, Alpine, and Aston had esports teams, but here we are.
Well, Alpine's a partnered track racer team, and Ferrari even do iRacing. It's just so low key and mid.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Also on the grid are Guild, G2BS, and ARA, with one driver, Dan Amore, who is representing us. Best of luck to Dan, who of course was one of the front runners in the Formula Ford Support Series last year.
Obviously, I must say that our very own Luke McEwen is the back-to-back two-time
Two-time champion.
undefeated champion, and he's not going.
No, because, yeah, there's no money.
There's no money in it.
So it'd be a waste of time for him. He's got other stuff to focus on, IndyCar, which we'll be talking about a little bit later on. And no, he doesn't need to do contenders even, does he? Oh, yeah, he's probably got an easy time of it. But also, I didn't know that the Apex Racing League GOAT, Thiago Martell, is racing, 6-time Apex Racing League champion.
Williams Academy,
and
right?
he is racing for Williams. So best of luck to him. We've also got Saoirse Fitzpatrick, my sister, is racing, as well as Isaac Price, Will Chadwick, Graham Cowell, and Alex Betts.
Sorry, that first bit, your sister? What?
Yeah, Saoirse. Did you not know that?
You know, I don't know what you're saying. Are you racing it, or is it someone with your initials and you're just calling them your sister, or is it your sister?
Saoirse Fitzpatrick is driving.
Is that your sister?
Yeah.
Your sister. So you have a family member that's better than you at sim racing?
No.
I'm so lost, mate.
Well, maybe I could jump into the second ARA. So maybe I could be Dan's teammate. I don't know. But maybe I'll join in. But
Are
yeah.
you racing?
No.
Okay. Because I will watch if you are.
Yeah, I have caused some confusion there. But yeah. So that is the series. Of course, there is also the Formula Ford Support series as well. Joining that as well, so it could be alright. I mean, I'm surprised actually the quality of drivers in it, considering that there's not the money involved. Motorsport UK have clearly done a very good job at convincing these big teams to get involved.
Yeah, obviously I'm partnered with Motorsport UK, so I was there in a lot of these meetings where we discussed the transition from prize money to IRL opportunities and events and these leagues and the transition, which I know is tough because like I don't know what I'm meant to know, but there is a big fee for getting in this, and there's no prize. Well, cash.
Yeah, you're not getting that back.
So while you're getting these, and I say this isn't against it, I always just state the facts, no matter my partnership or agreements or who's paying what. But so you're paying this big entry fee for an opportunity that you could ultimately pay for, like the karting you talk about. I don't know what Club 100 costs, but
£600 per round.
Okay, so you could do a round. Yeah, so the fee.
So if you value Club 100 at
that is good though.
At £600 per round, then you
that is a good opportunity then, very good opportunity.
Yeah, but that's only for the top 3, and you got to beat Carroll, Spets, Price, Chadwick,
and your sister.
And yeah, so
tough out there.
Apex Racing team. So this is our esports team, of course. IndyCar iRacing Pro Series round 1 of that
was it last night?
Yesterday. First round was at Indy Roval. I think it was a decent race. However, unfortunately, there's a team called Redline, and they're very, very good. Pete and Luke qualified fairly well, and they went for the alternate strategy. So one of the best things about IndyCar racing, in real life and on the sim, is that the soft tyre and the hard tyre have big differences. And the soft tyre in the first couple of laps of a race is insanely quick, like over a second a lap faster than the hard tyre. So Pete and Luke were able to surge to the front. Everyone else was on the hard tyre, they went for the soft. And they were able to get to the front in the early stage within like a couple of laps, despite qualifying outside the top 5. However, the race played out as they were anticipating, as everyone was anticipating, and they fell back. In the end, it was a red line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with Eduardo Leo at the front. Luke was P6, and Pete was in P9.
Pete was leading at one point, I believe.
Pete was leading on lap 2, yeah. I think he had... So I think Luke pitted 1 lap earlier than Pete, and I think may have undercut him. I'm not entirely sure. But we put 6th and 9th. It was very close.
Yeah.
Leo was quite far out in the lead, but I think the gap between 3rd and 10th was 4 seconds. So I think Pete was only about 12 seconds off the lead. But yeah, he ended up 9th in that.
Credit where it's credit due. Top 5 in one team it's ungodly. It's brilliant.
So that series will continue, but I think Luke and Pete will be fairly happy. I think they were a little bit concerned with how the last couple of rounds of the qualifiers went, where they felt like they were maybe lacking something in the set. But I think they are a bit more confident now at this point about their chances.
Yeah, that's great to see.
We also had the first round of the F4 Pro Championship as well. And that was some very entertaining racing, as you'd expect from F4s. And Apex did really well in that. We had a lot of our drivers near the front of the order. And it was Alex Dunn who ended up getting the double race win. 2 different circuits. It was Mugello Race 1 and Okayama Race 2. And as you can expect, it was pack racing. Everyone was together. And Alex somehow managed to come out on top in both races. Really incredible racecraft that he has. I say that now. Maybe he'll crash in the remaining races. But at least on that one, he did very well to get the race win.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast.
Do keep on tuned into both those races. Unfortunately, the IndyCar one is very late. I think it's 1 o'clock in the morning for Europeans. But the F4 one is a bit more accessible. I think it's normal evening. So tune in for that for future rounds.
And finally, we got 2 clips.
Clips. I'm struggling to remember what these were.
For
the junkyard. Oh yeah. You
Oh,
can see
this is
big
just a
contact
painful
heading
pit
through, and that was a
entry. So this
huge
guy's hit the
into
wall.
the outside wall coming out
Connor
of Blanchimont.
Swain.
I believe that was 3 or 4 cars involved in that incident.
And then he's going to try to get.
Oh,
this
his
is
car
underway.
is
You can
never
see
getting
that
in pit
car
road.
Absolutely destroyed as in damage. And to enter the
And
door
this just
open,
goes
that
on
you can
and
Still
on
to get back.
and on
That's
and on
see if he
No, you
actually
can't turn
can,
left, yeah.
grab
and
the
on
wall as we
and
play.
on
It's
and
an
on
interesting
and on
one.
and
I mean,
on
again, would be
and
happy
on
up
and
to
on
no. They're
and
showing
on
some stuff
and
out of the
on
way.
and on and on, and then it's
That's
over.
Oi, oi, oi. Yeah, when you're crabbing like that, it's just better to tow.
I don't know what people's perceptions of towing is. Like, do they think, like in that scenario, it's so obvious that you just tow.
Correct, yeah.
When you're like in the wall and you're, because it's only going to be like a 1 minute tow, right? If you tow just outside the pits.
Mm.
So yeah, bizarre one.
Car backing out of it, and
This was
not
just a
trying to
good
force
move.
the issue
There's
to take the lead in
LMP3s.
LMP3 at this point of the race, but look at that side by side, go for the sneak
Very
attack and
nice.
making
So
contact.
that's
Heading through the Lecombe
Malmedy.
chicane, Rising Panda Racing side by side now got
And
that
then
inside
managing
line
to get
heading
ahead
into
into
turn number
Bruxelles.
8.
I love the
W2
rescan
on the
Spa.
outside, they're going
I'm
to
a
relinquish
big
that
fan.
challenge. That
My
was a
first
sneak
instinct
attack
when
by
I looked at it, I was like, I got to do cameras for that. Because all the cameras are a bit off. I mean, do you notice that in terms of the cameras being a bit naff on the iRacing defaults, whereas
Oh, yeah.
the cameras that we watch on
Well,
when it comes to the broadcast?
I've got a few of the ones, because I did the broadcast from home that time, and you walked me through how to install, and I never knew what I was doing. And then all of a sudden, I have all these giga cameras every now and then. I'm like, okay, good, I need to speak to Sam. But yeah, I know what you mean, for sure.
Doing cameras is super satisfying. I absolutely love doing the camera packs for the circuits.
Well, name your price, mate. A couple of beers and an ice cream. You come to my house, set them all up for every car and every track.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sounds
Job
good.
done. Brilliant. You're easy. You're cheap. Couple of beers and an ice cream.
So that was Apex Racing TV. Just a reminder as well, of course, check out apexracingleague.com in order to sign up for Apex Racing League prototypes, which is starting in a couple of weeks. And of course, check out Apex Racing Academy as well. We've got some discounts going on. Of course, our free Mercedes AMG GT4 data packs currently going on. And of course, the VRS summer sale is still going on. I mean, it feels a bit like the fall with some of the weather that we're starting to have, but the summer sale is still going. And that means big discounts on VRS products. Check out apexracingsim.com for all of that. Links in the description below, of course. But that's pretty much everything that I want to discuss.
Yeah. Exciting times. Nice to see a lot of news. It's always good for our industry, especially all these new games and new promises and new updates and new everything. Let's see. And obviously, even iRacing, credit where credit's due, is doing a good job. Now just contact model and tire model, please.
One of the things that iRacing mentioned a lot in that video was the employment of extra staff.
Yep.
And how like excited and how convinced are you that's going to be a game changer? Because like, yeah, hearing all the personnel that they're going to get and the fact that I don't feel like they've always said that. This isn't like a repeated thing from iRacing that they always say, oh, we got new staff or whatever. It's not like the tire model where they always say that they've fixed the tire model.
Yep.
But this staff thing,
yeah,
I think it sounds really positive.
Especially on the networking side, there was a big talk about that. And for me, that sounds super positive because let's face it, a lot of the contact model relationship and contact model to netcode is network related on where they're hitting, how they're hitting, the speed, relationship. And that's just become a constant across on the network connections and how it's behaving. So that will help a lot. And they mentioned not just about improving the tire model, but completely redoing the contact patch and updating how much data and how much transfer weight and everything. So, like I said this a few times before, but from everything they've said in the development blog, I'm pleased with everything they're saying. Whether they're going to act on it and how well it's done, I obviously can't relate. But the things they've said and what they've said, I'm impressed with. So, fingers crossed.
Yep, sounds very good. And of course, do keep tuned to the late Apex next week when we'll be discussing everything that happens over the course of the next 7 days. But from me and from David, we will say goodbye for now, and we'll see you back on the next one.
Ciao.